school or my preschool, my elementary school days, I am going with the flow. Am I accumulating karma? That's the question. How do you feel, Sanjana?
Good. Better. I definitely sound worse than I feel. Who knows?
Do you want some Ricola? Because I've been stuffing on Ricola. Do you want some Ricola?
I'm having it right now.
I've been stuffing on Ricola, and here's my warm water.
Let me know when you're good. If you don't mind, my conversation is going to be talking to people that work here so that we're all on one page. So if I somehow reiterate or change my vocabulary, yeah. Okay. And I won't answer that question because it's for broadcasting and all of this. Are you good? Hariom. No, it's green. It's on you. Good. Yeah, Hariom.
You should hear here.
It's picking up.
Use this mic.
Hariom, Hariom. Should I stand somewhere? Hariom, Hariom, Hariom. This is good, right? Okay. Nope. Bear with the sound. Hariom, Hariom. Would you like me to use a different mic? Okay. Give me a different mic.
Yeah, the
Just went
videos
blank.
went blank. It actually snapped. We could hear the sound. We heard a sound that they got shot.
Yeah.
But luckily we had a manual,
Correct.
visuals. So, I mean, not physical visuals.
It
Now
was
let's
like
not-
literally
that's-
2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
Hariom,
That's it.
Hariom,
So nobody noticed. So that.
Hariom.
Nobody noticed, but people like me who have an OCD.
No,
Hariom.
I know. I know.
Is this working? Hariom, Hariom, Hariom. Are you hearing something? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I got here like 15 minutes early. The discussion will go till 11:15. So we're good. How about now? Ah, yes, very good. All right. All right. Is that good?
Yes.
All right. So we're good to go, right? I can go ahead and start? Okay. So we'll do a quick opening prayers, and then here in Saket, we had a good question. So I'll start with that, and I hope the discussions were fruitful and engaging. And then today, I wanted to get into the next topic in this, which is going to be connected with what we have been covering. We'll be covering the 3 values of Sanatana Dharma, and so we'll do that. So we'll just do Om Sahana Vavatu and Guru Brahma as our opening prayers. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Okay, so we had a good question here, and let me see if I understood it right. That do you accumulate karma if you are a teenager that is just going with the flow? Did I capture that question correctly?
So do you accumulate karma right from when you're born until the point, let's say in a typical state where 18 years, when they go out into the world, college, etc. So they create that karma because they accumulate, meaning they connect with many people. Until then, it is a very protected environment by parents. The question is, do you accumulate karma right from your childhood, early childhood, right up to the point when you go out, or that you gain this kind of a knowledge through these classes?
Yes, the answer is, as a human being born in a human body, we're given the tool called the intellect. And if you remember the definition of the intellect, it is the ability to choose or make choices in accordance or against vasana. That ability is there right from the moment we're born, and it will continue until the human body is dropped. So yes. Now, inside your question, when you were talking about 18 and all of that, we're looking at it from a legal standpoint of agency. But honestly, if we go back to the fundamentals of very mind and intellect, we're putting legalities aside. If I have the ability to choose to go according to my vasanas or against it, then whatever I choose is going to accumulate papa and punya because of that.
But the decisions are made by your parents, right?
No. So decisions are made, but the child still has a choice to follow.
So
For example, if you look at a 3-year-old child, 3-year-old, right? We think they have absolutely no agency, but does that child not give tantrums? Does that child not reject food of certain types and be addicted to candy? Or you have good control as parents to get them to do the right thing, but that's because that is your influence on them. Eventually they'll cave in and follow your direction, so that is a choice they've made. The ability to choose has always been there. Papa and punya, depending on the choice I make, yes.
And choosing comes as early, at least maybe 3 years old, at least.
Even before, even to cry and not to cry, we're talking basic functions. So that is why they say in Shastras, the being born as a human being is so important, because as soon as you're born with the ability of the intellect. No other animal has that kind of ability. If you don't have that ability of choice, then we say the Prakriti is driving those choices, and you're exhausting vasanas because you're not adding to it. Human beings alone have the ability to create vasanas within, and that starts the moment we're born and ends either two options. Either you die or you gain moksha. Those are the two ways to end it.
And that's why animals don't accumulate karma, because they don't have the intellect.
Say that again? Who
animals?
does? Yes.
They don't they don't accumulate karma because
They just
exhaust whatever is there.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
That is why I made it very clear when we defined the intellect, not the same thing as intelligence. Animals are intelligent. They know how to build nests and navigate the wolf pack. They're very complex. I'm not saying they're simple-minded. But each of those is driven by Prakriti. They have no other ability to choose other than that. Human beings are the only ones that have choice. So that's why we say, when I need to exhaust my vasanas, I am given the next body most appropriate to exhaust all of it. When I come back to a balance between papa and punya, I'm gained the privilege of being born as a human. It is only in the human life that I have the ability to make the most of it and actually gain realization, to transcend everything I have. No animal can do that on its own. Yeah? Okay, so the discussion questions topic that we had seen was the interaction between Purushartha and Prarabdha and the law of karma. The best example, and I really did come to enjoy this example, is that log that's in the river. That too, log with a motor behind it. That motor is this intellect of choice. When I make choices, I am dealing in the field of the vasanas I have. So the vasana flow is 2 miles per hour. The log, when left without any choice, will flow along with that. But because the intellect is there, it's like you're attaching a motor onto that log, and now the log can turn directions. If you are frivolous with your choices and you continue to go along with your vasanas, now you're going twice as fast. But if you decide to grow out of your vasanas, be more in control, it's almost like going against the current. So you are making progress. That steadiness of progress is still there, but it's not all on its own. So in that analogy, if I put in 5 miles per hour of effort, I expect to see 5 miles per hour effort. But we forget we're dealing with our own vasanas. So keep that 5 miles per hour of effort. Results you may see as 2 miles per hour, or whatever, however that math works out. So it's an important thing to understand that we can't judge those that are around us. Someone may be, like for example, Vibhishanji becomes a really good example. He by nature is considered as a Rakshasa. He's the brother of Ravana. And he himself says, I feel like I'm a tongue that's living in the mouth that is caged by teeth. I am that soft, supple tongue, and all this Lanka is with Rakshasas that are like that teeth. He's putting in tremendous amount of work. He's putting in tremendous amount of sadhana, and yet it may feel like, why do we still call him as a Rakshasa? So this is our relationship between where I am, what I've been given, and what choices I make will lead me to the results that I will come about. So now we say make the right choice, have the right conduct that's there. Can we be more concrete in what those choices should be? So in this chapter that we're about to see next, it mimics the same content in self-unfoldment called values. Now let's put into terms exactly what choices should I make. And Puja Gurudev summarizes all teachings that can fall under 3 categories. It is Satyam, Brahmacharya, and Ahimsa. These are the 3 values that can be categorized in any effort we choose to grow. Satyam. Satyam is truth. Actually, I've missed a transition point. When we have this power of choice, we also say we have willpower, right? Willpower. There are 2 words in this, will and power. Will would be the choices I make. I have a wish. This is my sankalpa. This is my desire. This is a choice I want. This is what I will in terms of results or goals that we want. That is the will part. That will have hundreds and thousands of wills. If you say, what do you want? I need a whole library of books to list out all the things I want. Where does the difficulty come? This power. How to actually sustain and keep up energy in such a way that I can achieve the choices I make. So in simple terms, if we have brand new ideas day in and day out, but once we decide that this is what I want to do, how many of us actually are able to stick to it and reach the end? The number drops, doesn't it? There's only a few that I actually can see all the way through to the end. The power diminishes over time. That's why we even have books called How to Have Willpower. Because this is where things lack. When we want to evolve, when we have all of these karmas to perform, And now, because of our education with Shastras, we want to choose Shreyas over Preyas. This becomes one of those wills. I want to choose Shreyas, meaning choices that will help me evolve and choices that will help me exhaust my vasanas. I want to do this. But we need the power. We need that sustainability. We need to see through till the end that I have committed and stuck to Shreyas. How do I gain that? That is when these three values become important. So Satyam, then Brahmacharya. Here, this is self-control. And finally, Ahimsa. And this is translated as non-injury. Okay, so let's just check. 2 minutes, you'd give me the definitions of all these three in our current understanding. We'll come back and double check these. So when you say Satyam, what does Satyam actually mean? What does truth actually mean? As is, okay. So truth as is. Matter of fact, okay. What else?
Your what your actions and thinking and
Integration.
the whole thing is truthful.
Okay, so this is the integration / alignment of, there was a list you just said.
Like the manasa vacha karmana.
Huh. Manasa, vacha, karmana. So the thoughts, speech, and action.
Yeah, thoughts, speech, and action. Alignment of that is the truth for me. I mean, that's
Being truthful.
being truthful.
Okay. Without deceit. Okay. Without this, I think it's EI. Is that how you spell it? Sure, why not? Okay. Okay. Then what about brahmacharya? Sorry, I'm going to abbreviate BRC for brahmacharya, okay? Discipline. What are some common, if you were to tell anybody, hey, tell me what brahmacharya is, what do most people say? Sacrifice? Okay.
Away from grihastha,
Away from grihastha, oh.
or rather non-grihastha. That's how we see brahmacharya.
Ah,
When we, in the normal colloquial we say, any colloquial we say brahmacharya means they're not grihastha. That's all.
away
Now
from.
what about it?
Okay, can I put English terms to this? They're celibate?
Yes, yes.
Celibacy?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a brahmachari.
Thought, speech, and action are
Yeah.
actually in practice.
Okay.
When thought, speech, and action are in practice, they are in brahmacharya, or they are striving to be. They are putting that into practice.
So when you say thoughts, speech, and action are in practice, what do you mean by the word practice?
Sadhana. Basically,
Sadhana.
one who is in sadhana to
Okay.
achieve that alignment is a brahmachari.
So brahmacharya is in sadhana to align
Thought, speech.
manas, vak, and karma. That is called as brahmacharya.
So discipline in sadhana, what does discipline mean? They are in discipline to achieve that.
Okay, discipline of what? This is what you're clarifying. Okay, so discipline of aligning mind, speech, and actions, that would be brahmacharya. Okay, we're good? Sincerity. Okay. Sincerity. Okay. Last one. Ahimsa. And again, I will abbreviate to AHM. Ahimsa. What are current definitions of that?
Don't kill.
Don't kill.
Don't hurt
Don't hurt.
through thoughts, speech, and action.
Thoughts, speech. Oh, sorry. thoughts, speech, actions.
I think that definition comes after learning, but otherwise, when you simply say ahimsa, non-violence means don't kill. Anything else that you don't kill, besides you can do anything else, just
Don't hurt
kill.
the feelings also, we all learn
That,
from
but
our
that comes
parents.
more from knowledge.
No,
like-
even parents, right? Don't hurt other feelings, you have to,
And
So you were
direct
saying that don't kill is a instinctive, reactive definition, but when you actually put thought into it, don't kill or on any level. So you were saying mind,
like that, right? We
words.
can't be rude in speaking, that's also we learn, right? I mean, from the
But
emotion.
no, what I meant to say is that true. It's only when you learn something deeper, it is don't hurt non-violence in many areas, not just one.
Yes.
And in
So now I'm
fact, direct-
asking, give me the more implications of what we think of as ahimsa.
Direct and indirect too, right?
Okay.
Sometimes we knowingly do it, sometimes indirectly we contribute to.
Okay, so even knowing and unknowing is another factor to consider in not hurting someone, okay? Okay, so this is our start. This is the beginning of where we are. We'll come back to this and check what our understanding is like after we go through all of this. So I'm gonna flip the board a little bit so we can get a fresh page. So of all the definitions, satyam, truth, is very profound when it comes to Hinduism. When we say Brahman, when we're trying to indicate that highest reality, what's an English word we use? Satyam. I am reaching that truth, that supreme reality, that truth itself. So truth, 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 that word gets used quite a lot. Because when we say that, what is that which exists in all three periods of time? So where am I getting this from? This comes from Tattva Bodha, the definition of Brahman, who is represented by Om, Sat. What is Sat? Sat is that which remains in all three periods of time. I won't go into too much detail, that which is unchanging. I won't go into too much details on this highest level because that's going to be a whole other conversation. But the point that I'm trying to make here is even that reality is called as truth. So it has a very profound meaning and value in our Sanatana Dharma. But again, we've been speaking about action. So this is about from our realm. What does Satyam mean? Let me add a couple more notes when it comes to the highest. That which is imperishable and has no names or form. Name and form limit, names and forms change. That which is unchanging can't have a name and a form. In Gayatri Mantra, we say, Dhiyo Yonaf Prachodayat. Dhiyo Yonaf. May I let my mind illumine that truth. Dhiyo Yonaf Prachodayat. Then even in Bhagavatam, there's a phrase called Satyam Param Dhimahi. Satyam Param Dhimahi. I apologize for Sanskritam translation, but it's Satyam. Again, these are references of why we take that truth to be the ultimate. Yes. So, when it comes to now the practicality of doing this, that definition you gave of the integrity between body, mind, and intellect is Satyam. So So the way I think about these three is, this is the what. This is the thing that I'm reaching for. These two mantras, Gayatri mantra and this statement, Satyam Param Dhimahi, this is my prayer. This is what I keep invoking in myself, the motivations to reach that highest. Then how do I practice that? This is that integrity. So this is also Satyam, this is also Satyam, this is also Satyam. 3 ways in which that word Satyam can be applied. What is it that thing is? What is my prayer and motivation to reach that thing? And how do I actually practice it in my life? Satyam, Satyam, and Satyam. Now, when we say that we want to integrate between the body, mind, and intellect, we have to go back to a previous chapter we've been studying. A previous chapter where we said that the subject, or that doer, has 4 personalities. Can we remember what the 4 were? We did this exercise a couple weeks ago. Not the laborer, worker, and man of achievement. Yes. What was the last one? Physical, mental, intellectual. Mm-hmm. Yes, and spiritual. These were the 4. And the example we took was someone gave a sweet distastefully, meaning with arrogance, they flung that prasada in front of us saying, eat. So in that moment, there were four types of reactions, right? The mouth watered. The emotions were resentful. Then the intellect knows that, for health reasons, there's that kind of logic, whether I should eat it or not eat it. The intellect thinks about it. Whereas the spiritual side, and we're not talking, Paramatma, where we're talking about the spiritually indicated side of us, is saying, have self-control. Right? So all 4 are having certain reactions to one incident. Now, we cross off physical and spiritual because they're steady and common in all. We have 5 senses, the eyes, the nose, the mouth. It will naturally react the way it's supposed to. That's unanimous across all of our bodies in a way. Spiritually, there's no disagreement. Shastras has one message and one message alone. There's no disagreement and argument and variations. So we don't have to worry about the physical and the spiritual. The real tussle happens when there's a mental and intellectual disagreement. I want to eat it. I really want to eat it. I want to binge eat. I'm emotionally eating. Whereas the intellect says, no. Please have some control. This is not good for you. The intellect is trying to make better decisions. In the book, it also said, take note that whenever we become overwhelmed with emotions, we're not able to make right decisions. And when there is a firm decision made by the intellect, there's no sentimentalism, there's no room for sentimentalism. So you can see this tussle between mind and intellect. When these 2 come in alignment and we let the intellect take charge, when we let the intellect take charge and the mind submits to that intellect and surrenders, then that entire personality is in a balanced position. And we're not ignoring the mental aspect. For example, when we walk into a hospital and there's a family member that's going through sickness or something, there's compassion, there's love. But the way it's expressed is with firm support. If I need to talk to the doctors, what is the best decisions to be made? What are our options? What is the consequence of each option? What would be the best for this person? Doesn't our intellect have to be turned on? Emotions and, weeping and crying and feeling sorrowful and all of that, we put that aside for a second so the intellect can think clearly. We do it because we love them. So there is a perfect balance between that emotional state and that intellectual state. This has to be firm and strong and well educated from the Shastras. So, this was just a review of these 4 personalities. Let us now connect it back into the value of Satyam. You said that there is an integration. Body will listen to the intellect. The mind will listen to the intellect. And once the intellect gives a firm, educated decision, the body and emotions will follow through. This is what's meant by integrity. This is the practice of Satyam. When the body and mind listen to a well-educated intellect, that is called Satyam. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Where you need a job and all this comes into picture, and let's say that I won't leave the job because I'm not happy with what I'm doing, but if I leave the job, problem is until I land something else, I cannot. And so I'm putting up with that, and so the wrestling goes with intellect where it says, well, you need the money, you better deal with this kind of situation. So if you can help.
Yeah. So the next part, and it leads right into the next part of what I was going to speak about with Satyam here, is that once this alignment is there, there is a level of commitment. Commitment becomes very important. Commitment and consistency.
Isn't that the brahmacharya?
Not yet. Not yet. It's transitioning into it. Commitment is still a bhava that we're speaking about. So commitment here is I am ready to sacrifice whatever is necessary in order for me to stick to the ideals that the intellect has given. That is commitment. I am ready to sacrifice. Oh, it can still be a struggle. But you're not willing to give up. That's another one. Not giving up. So I'm willing to sacrifice what is unnecessary and ready to sacrifice energy for that ideal. To both positive and negative. I'm ready to let go of things that are not going to help me stick to this, and I'm ready to invest myself, both emotionally, time, energy, whatever it is that I need to deliver in that moment, I'm ready to give. That's a level of commitment that's there. Then consistency, that's the other word here. That it's not just 1 time, 2 time, then that comes back to the idea of willpower. That I've done it once, great, I felt great. Oh man, I have to do it again? Okay, sure, I'll do it. 3rd time, 4th time, every time we're tested, it seems that we get weakened again and again. How do I put this in words? But the clarity of the decision that the intellect has made doesn't hold firm. Clarity is important. Conviction. Clarity leads to conviction. When that isn't fully established, there's going to become a tussle between emotions and intellect. Do I have to? I don't feel like it. I'm not having enough energy. I already gave so much. Now the emotions are trying to fight back. No. I don't care how much energy I've put in. I don't care how much I've sacrificed. I'm still not there yet. I know I need to get there. I'm willing to do it. That strength has to come from that commitment. And over time, when we commit again and again and again with every moment of challenge, that develops consistency. Now, to answer your question, your question was, when there is a job, a decision between 2 jobs, right? And if you don't mind rephrasing your question again. just so I have clarity.
So mainly that physical, mental, intellectual, and spiritual. If it's applied to a job, I would like you to help describe where I have a job that I don't like, but I need the job. And let's say in this market, just because you do not know when you can get the next job, but I have to stick on to a job. So how should we process this whole thing?
So that's when the intellect, and I always put educated intellect. Educated intellect is one that has shastras in mind, that has evolution, that goal in mind. When that's there, then I have to look at the job or career or work that I do. Is it going to help me stay in alignment with that goal? Is the job that, for example, if my job is, an insurance agent that is trying to milk money out of the crisis somebody went through, it doesn't feel very good. You know that may not be the best job at that point. But in order for you to leave that job, you don't want to be dumb about it and suddenly quit your job saying, I have moral obligations to this and I will give up this job. Then what about your other duties to your family and your friends and the support system that you have? Others depend on you. You cannot be frivolous in not fulfilling those duties. So there's patience and time. That's when commitment and consistency come out. Okay, this is not the job that's going to get me there. I have very good clarity about that. But in order for me to grow out of it, I need to be diligent, search for the right jobs, make sure that the transition is not doesn't leave any gaps in the other responsibilities I have. I will take my time. Emotionally, I will not get bogged down by that current job that I know is wrong. Because in my mind, I can say, I'm working my way to get out of this. Until that time, I'm doing this because of my family, because of the obligations I have. So I will still put in my best. I will make sure that I earn every dollar that I gain in the situation I have, with my eye on moving out of it to something better that's there. So that's what I mean by well-educated intellect. Takes its time, patience, and thinks things through. So that's why Swamiji's favorite word is being comprehensive and thorough in any decision we make. So yes, I want to get out of this job, but let me do it in such a right way that I minimize the damage around, and that I do it in a proper manner. So it can still be done. So again, we don't want to ever judge people that are in that. You don't know what's going on in their mind. Actions alone does not tell us what's going on. Okay? Now, when it comes to, oh man, I thought I was going to cover all 3 values in 30 minutes. we only have a couple more minutes. So I just wanted to finish with the idea here that when that integration is firm, that energy and thought is directed to that commitment or sankalpa we have. When that onus is there, there's no such thing as boredom or drudgery of life. There's this zeal. This is a truth I have, and I'm going to be committed to it. I'm going to be consistent with it. Every day I will get up and have the motivation to be better than yesterday. So when we lack this kind of conviction, when we don't adhere to satyam, we will slip off into animalistic style of living. And when we are consistent in being part of that truth, we develop a level of trust. Trust is earned because of that consistency. Trust with myself. When I make a decision, I know I'm capable of sticking to it to the end. There's a level of confidence that develops within. There's a level of strength and courage. Now, when other people look at us and saying, look, they are there living their values and ideals, and I see them consistently working on it, people will come to trust us. People will come to admire what we do, and there's a healthy relationship with people around us. And therefore, that trust then will turn into love. So is it not true that when we become strong and integrated and truthful, that people will recognize that truth in us, and therefore that relationship with others will also blossom into something lovely? That is how trust is earned, by integrity. May we always take positive thoughts to reinforce what we have as our intellect. the decisions that our intellect makes. And at the same time, let us have the room for a little bit of humility in there too. May I always have room to accept lessons to be learned. Sometimes, well, that's why that word educated becomes important again. I won't always know everything right away or right off the bat. While I'm staying committed, strong, and consistent, may I always keep my eyes and ears open for refinement. Let others that are wise have gone through this path correct me in the decisions I need to make. May I have the openness to actually change what I do and accept the advice. So, have humility to change and absorb mistakes we've made, but may that sight of Satyam never waver. That is my goal, and I will stay consistent and integrated to reach that. This is the first value and principle of performing actions in such a way that I continue to grow. Satyam is a very important value that we must hold on to. So, in summary, if we look back to what we were talking about here, I think somebody has studied pretty well their self-unfoldment book, because this definition here, alignment, integration between thought, speech, and action. But here we have to add with educated ideals. Or ideals, we are educated in the ideals.
Guided by
Yes, and that is why Satyam in terms of Brahman becomes important. Satyam in terms of Gayatri Mantra. Gayatri. These are the statements of goals. And my eyes are always towards that. So this is Satyam. Okay? So when we come back, we will stay with this topic and we will see how does Satyam, what are some weaknesses or challenges that come along, even if my commitment is firm, my clarity on the ideal is firm, it is not yet complete. There's still weaknesses that can develop along the way. How does that relate to brahmacharya becomes the next question. And then after that, how do we deal with when we're trying to perfect ourselves and become stronger and less mistakes, how do we deal with those mistakes? Ahimsa is a very interesting topic we'll take up after that. So thank you for your patience for this half hour, and I hope some of those questions were answered and we learned.
Definitely.
Good. So with that, thank you so much. We will do closing prayers. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. If you want, the questions that I posted on the slides, if you would like to take that up as your own homework and write your answers and send it to me privately, I would love to hear your thoughts and what happened in discussion. I would love to hear it online as well. All right, thank you. Hari Om. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that whenever the emotional part, even though I have a clarity, but emotional part takes over my intelligence. For example, when someone, let's say, spoke rudely, I know it's okay, let it be, let it go. I know that. But it's repeating in my head, no, he spoke rude, he spoke rude. So does that mean the intelligence at that, or intellect is not clear, or is it weaker than